So I am super excited to chat with you today about how your kids actually learn. There's all these moments where you've taught your kids something, you talk to them about it, you think they know it, and then they go to do it and it doesn't work, and you get super frustrated. I want to change A, that frustration of yours, and B, the fact that your kids aren't demonstrating the behavior that you think they have. In case we haven't met before, I'm Dr. Marcy. I'm a parenting expert and coach, and I am here to share my 25 years of wisdom of being in this field and working with families. So, to break this down, I first want to talk about two different phrases. One is cognitive knowledge, the other is applied knowledge. This is the difference that you are seeing. I actually just did a training and talked to a wonderfully amazing group of parents about this, and it inspired me to share it with you. So, cognitive knowledge is information that we know in our head, that we know how it works to us in our thoughts. We can explain it, we can talk about it, we get it in our minds, in theory, in the idea. That's one type of knowledge. It is an important type of knowledge. There is another type of knowledge that's also important called applied knowledge. And that is what we do in real life situations. So, what we do is sometimes based on what we know, but sometimes it's not. And it's a different type of learning. And we need to make sure that we are teaching our kids in applied knowledge as well as in cognitive knowledge. And that is where most of these breakdowns happen. So I'm going to give you an example from my life. I love ice cream. I grew up with ice cream being a happy food, a food we use to celebrate. Every birthday we had ice cream for dinner. Like, it is just joy. And so if there is ice cream in my house, I know that it is best for my body if I eat it after a meal, preferably at night, because I'll have a sugar crash from it. I know this about myself. However, if I have bought ice cream and it is in my house, aka in my freezer, and I wake up in the morning, I will have ice cream for breakfast. Yep. I know that I will have a sugar crash. I know that all day long I will crave sugar and probably go buy more ice cream to eat more of that and then feel sick afterwards. But somehow, even though I know it is not good for me, I know it will make my day harder, I know I will crash and be tired all day long, I can't stop myself from eating the ice cream in my freezer. I have the cognitive knowledge about what is good for me, but my applied experience, my applied knowledge of doing it doesn't exist, which means I don't have the applied knowledge. I haven't had enough experience of the ice cream being in my freezer and not consuming it. Probably like 10% of the time does that happen, which means it's not a mastered skill. So if I wanted to change that behavior, which, let's face it, I just don't buy ice cream and keep it in my house, that's my solution. But if I wanted to change that behavior, I would have to have experiences again and again and again of having ice cream in my house and not eating it for breakfast. And I would need a tactic. I would need someone to help support me and teach me how to make a different choice in that moment. Your kids are the same exact thing. There are things that they can tell you, they can talk about, they know they should not be doing. But when it comes to the experience, they don't know how to apply that knowledge when the emotions are big and happening and experiencing and unfolding. So it might look like if you have a little kid who is hitting like a 2 or 3-year-old, they go and they're playing with their sibling and their sibling takes their toy and they hit them and they get the toy back. And you sit down and you say to them, "What are you doing? Hitting's not okay. Don't do that." And they're like, "I know, no hitting. Use my words." And they know to say, "Can I have my toy back?" Or, "Will you share, please?" They know the words. They know hitting's bad. They cognitively have all of this. However, when they are in the moment, they have never actually done it. Every single time they want a toy from their sibling, they hit them and then grab the toy. They hit them and then grab the toy. So all of their applied experience is from using their physicality. You as the parent get so mad and so frustrated because they can talk about it. They know that this isn't what works, but they don't really know. They have the cognitive knowledge. They don't have the applied knowledge. And if you don't have the applied knowledge, you don't really know it. So you have to teach them to do it differently, which means going over when they are playing with their sibling and saying, "Hey, let's practice asking for the toy. Let's practice sharing the toy," so that they are in the moment playing with their sibling and getting a toy from using their words, from using their language, from using their, like, maybe they're just asking like more for the toy. If they don't have language, that's a great way to do it. Teach them to sign it. But that their appropriate communication is how they're getting it. You have to build the muscle memory of them actually doing it in the moment, in the real life scenario of what is unfolding. Without that real life support and teaching, they're not going to have this skill. You can get as mad as you want at them about it, but unless you teach them in an applied way, they're not going to master the skill. You can keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, but it's not going to change. So you need to make sure that you are doing both types of teaching. The applied learning takes intentional creation of moments to teach them in real time when emotions are high. Okay. Cognitive knowledge, you can have those conversations anytime, anywhere, usually outside of the moment of big emotions and feelings, so that you can actually think clearly. You don't want to have your child be in an elevated state because then they're not thinking clearly. None of us are when we're in that moment. Okay. So if you want your kids to learn a new skill, to change something that's happening that is really hard, you need to not only give them the cognitive knowledge, you also need to give them the applied knowledge, and then practice the applied knowledge over and over and over again. And then you can consider that a mastered behavior and expect them to do that. Until then, you got to keep teaching them. So go have fun teaching your kids to do new and amazing things. And I'll see you next Wednesday on the next Wednesday Wisdom.